Republican House Speaker Mike Johnson just got another massive warning that his corrupt tax cuts for the ultra wealthy are likely to absolutely devastate America. But he, as you'll see in this clip, doesn't care at all. He barely cares enough to come up with a convincing cover story considering this terrible news. Take a look.
Quickly want to ask you about Moody's on Friday. For the first time in a century, they downgraded the US government's AAA rating. They say an increase in government debt and interest payment ratios, quote, that are significantly higher than similarly rated sovereigns. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer says it should be a wake-up call to your party. He says you're hell-bent on a multi-trillion-dollar tax cut for the ultra-wealthy. Your response?
It's just utter nonsense. It's just like Chuck Schumer to create a crisis and then point fingers of blame. This is the Biden spending spree that got us in this mess. Moody's is not incorrect, but that's why that emphasizes the very need for the legislation we're talking about, historic spending cuts. I mean, this will help to change the trajectory for the U.S. economy and send that message of stability to our allies and even our enemies around the world. America is back. President Trump's one big beautiful bill will be passed, and that will be the key to turning this thing around. We have to get this done.
Yeah, again, they have to because the wealthy are expecting it. Yeah, so Chuck Schumer is being ridiculous when he says they're hell-bent on passing a massive tax cut for the ultra-wealthy. Look, I love opportunities to criticize Chuck Schumer. I'm not seeing one in this particular case. He's right, that's what they're doing. Mike Johnson says he created the problem. It's the spending spree that doomed America. And so we're spending too much. We're not taking enough, so you know how you fix that? You cut the spending by this much, and then you blow this big of a hole in the budget, in the deficit with tax cuts. If it's just a spending issue, then why is he not just killing Medicaid? He could just kill Medicaid and not do any of these tax cuts. How about that? Or if the tax cuts are gonna be $4.5 trillion, you know that number that's been floating around for months? Why has that never changed? Like they talk about like, hey, maybe we could cut more, maybe we cut less because it's really bad to cut Medicaid. Like the cutting side shifts a little bit. The tax cut side, no. It's not like the corporate tax rate needs to be 15%. Well, okay, maybe we make it 17 so that we aren't sending as much. No, there's no debate whatsoever. See, he's talking about spending because he doesn't want you to talk about the fact that they are hell bent. They will not change that. Now they're making the tax cuts permanent. Well, what if you didn't make them permanent? What if you did them for 2 more years or for 4 more years? Or what if you raise the top marginal tax rate, but not quite as back to where it was before, but just like half an? There's no debate about literally any of these things happening because they are hell bent on paying off the uber wealthy. And so he can squirm a little bit. He can, Chuck Schumer, it's his problem. Everybody sees what's happening here. And unfortunately, we seem to be incapable of actually stopping it. And that's where I'll put more of the blame on Chuck Schumer for not doing a better job here. But he's not wrong when he points out what's happening, Jayar. What do you think?
I'm curious when somebody's gonna ask the follow-up question, what does that mean? Mike, what are you talking about? Because we obviously have information. This is a thing called information, like I talked about earlier. You know, in the first 100 days, which we're way past now, first 100 days of this administration, they spent $200 billion more than previous 100 first days. So how is it you're spending all that extra money and you somehow want us to believe that you have any idea what being fiscally responsible is? And also, again, you're talking about this big, beautiful bill. Just because you have that same stupid slogan that Donald Trump gave you to say every time so that he can look at you smirking into the camera and then say the same big, beautiful bill. What's in that big, beautiful bill? We're hearing about it. I will give some credit for many Democrats that are in some of these hearings and breakdowns of this budget talking about what's in it. You know what's not in it? That whole thing with no tax on tips. Oh, and that whole thing about no taxing on your Social Security. All these other things that they're talking about not taxing, the things that he said with the willingness to why we got to this point and why everyone voted for you are not in it. So when is someone gonna point out and have that one follow-up question where they ask him, just because you give slogans, Mike, doesn't mean that it suddenly disproves what we see right in front of us. Why are you trying to pass something that's gonna continue to harm more regular Americans and give more to the rich and corporations? It's just a straightforward question. I don't need any more of the lies. We just accept it instead because we're weak.
Yeah, she could have also pointed out like, okay, so you're only focused on spending, and spending's been too crazy. Even if we really want something, that doesn't mean we should have it. We gotta be willing to dial that back. So why is it that you took the world's largest defense budget and you decided to add $150 billion to it? in just 1 year? And why is it that we're gonna spend 150 billion and then next year 150 billion, then next year 150 billion? Like, if we're gonna tighten our belts, could we tighten our defense belts a little bit? Because you're like taking like the entire Russian military budget and adding it on top of the world's biggest military budget. Like, can you not see, Speaker Mike Johnson, that it is ridiculous to posture as if you care at all about spending when you're doing this sort of thing? Because look, I can identify the link between those two. You're giving the trillions of dollars in tax breaks to the wealthy because of your donors, and you're giving the $150 billion to defense contractors because they're your donors. It kind of feels like this is all about paying back your donors. Can you see that, Mike Johnson? Again, he's got to do his really piss poor job of laundering what they're doing here, but we all see it. We know exactly what this is about.